Welcome to Warblog. So I'm going to look at this Velyka Novosilka advance. It's quite interesting. Just sort of jump straight into it. Obviously what we've got at the moment is a sort of front line, a bit like this. And what they do is they sort of advance up to there, basically. And creates essentially a front line like that. So they're pushing on this place here, which is Velyka Novosilka, hence the name, but they don't take it. I think they take Velyka, but this is the general sort of the gist of what's happening. So if you just reload that, obviously got a lot of air power, not the best. I try to sort of keep things so that it doesn't break the screen up like that, but a lot of the time I'm not very good at doing that, so I should really sort of keep it, give unit players less but more effective, air assets. But anyway, that's something else. They presumably all get blown up. So that's what we're trying to do. I've no idea how it's going to work. What I try to do is to make this rather impregnable. So what you'll see under there's some forts, because otherwise we could just go straight for that. But to sort of maybe try and get an understanding of what's happening, you might assume that these places are easier to take. So at this stage, both sides have engineers. Well, I don't know where the Ukrainian ones are. Maybe the Ukrainian engineers are up there. So you might assume that this would be a lot easier to take with these units, and these places would be a little more trickier to take, but maybe not so tough. So if we start moving, if we start sort of thinking, well, what can we actually do down here? Maybe what is, because there's a lot of open ground here. It is all sort of agricultural. So we've got sort of some mechanized units here. To some extent, it's peculiar because you do have to sort of wonder how do you advance anyway. You just sort of drive your tanks forward until someone starts shooting at them. Presumably, you sort of move forward, to a position you think you can get to it and hold. But at some point they're going to start receiving some sort of fire, but we don't really clearly, in reality they don't know what the opposition has necessarily got. But obviously we can see here, but there's really not a lot. There's some engineers under there, but these are sort of little militia units of no consequence. So we should be able to take that quite quickly, but here is going to be it's going to take a while before we can actually get to anything. So we know there's sort of minefields here, and these are sort of going to stop our sort of direct travel, but we can get there and come up here. But how far can we go? So if it takes us 1.2 to get there, that means we've got another 4 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we could get to there and attack that unit. And this should be a 7-1. Yep. So push them back. Okay. And we could do the same thing here. I'm only doing this sort of almost experimentally, really, because one thing that's sort of confusing me, really, to some extent, is why the Russians don't sort of, use what you might consider to be modern concepts of war, rapid breakthroughs well, I don't know. You would have thought that they might sort of carry out strategic air operations and, like in the Vietnam War, the hammer anvil type setup, and they just don't seem to be using maneuver warfare particularly effectively in any sort of demonstrable fashion. Maybe we just really don't know exactly what's happening, but it seems to be very slow. I mean, it doesn't seem that modern warfare. I mean, I think one of the big things about the whole idea of World War III was that Russia would just pour straight through the something gap, the Fulda Gap or something, some sort of gap in Germany, and within 2 days it would be sort of through Poland and into eastern Germany, and the thing is, if you look at what's happening, it seems as though that would never happen, that they would never get past the major cities. So the whole concept of Russia completely just overwhelming Europe in like 3 or 4 days seems impossible. But so we've moved that far, and we've pushed these 2 units back. So now we can sort of follow up and sort of build up with what we got here. So we've got some more mechanised. So really, what we want to do possibly, see, these are fairly tough units, but we might want to sort of reinforce them. These are infantry, so let's see how far we can push them. 2 hexes. So we'll leave the air defences with them and the artillery with them, and we'll push our armour up in support. Three movement. Well, you can move into there and either attack him or really go for him. Oh look, we eliminated him. That was unusual because he is fresh. Okay, so we've got more mechanised down here. What might actually be good would be to use these units to take out these units, because there's not actually a lot in there. And if I'm right, we should get 7-1 here. Eliminated him as well, which is peculiar. Pushed him back. He's gone over the river though. See, this is the problem, this little anti-tank unit, but there's only one of him. Let's see if we can continue the damage against this little guy. Okay, so we pushed him all the way down to there. We haven't got any more movement, but we could attack this anti-tank unit. But it might be difficult. Yeah. Another exchange. Just that one little anti-tank unit causing a fair amount of problems. Right, so rockets. Not brilliant. Yes, so we've messed up. Well, we. Me. Okay, so that's that forward front line. Now here, we've got air defense units, rockets, irregulars. The irregulars are going to be tough. This little guy is going to be easy to knock back. We've got two lots of irregulars there, the irregulars there. So we've got a line of irregulars along there that are going to be tough. We've got this rocket unit we'd like to take out. Some irregulars, anti-tank. We've got some militia, air defense, anti-tank, and irregulars. We've got this guy. So can we do anything here? I mean, can we sort of take this out? It might be worthwhile prepping all of this with the air power, because we've got a fair stack there. Now he should be pushed back easily. That represents not so much of a tough stack. We don't want to be attacking it with the irregular, so we might want to attack that, but that might be a good one to attack. But this one would have less air defense, possibly. Now that is going to be a tough stack, but I'm going to go for... Let's just see what we can do. Okay, so we've got 3 against the rockets. Okay, so that's that. Let's try a cruise missile. Look at that. That worked. Let's see what damage we can do against these, because I think the morale against cruise missiles is tougher. Let's roll again. Yes. So we've seriously reduced those stats. We've got a lot of air power left. Now he's not going to be a big problem anymore. So if we come in here and try and take out this air defense unit, DE pushed him back to where? To there. Not the greatest place to retreat. Okay, so we've eliminated that air defense unit. He's going to be easy to remove. Can use air power there. Let's just... Okay, he's got no more movement. Okay, well this infantry unit can take out this. seems that I've moved the wrong unit. Sometimes that happens. It's a sort of glitch in the game which I can't really do anything about because it's browser side. It's the browser picking up the wrong thing. But so that was a DR. But he's moved there. Right. Well, he's not doing anything, so we could have possibly used him initially anyway. Right. It's not exactly what I want. Well, I guess we just have to push him back even further. Oh, brilliant. This could be our last attack, so eliminated. But that militia unit was a pain. It slowed down the entire advance of this sort of mechanized battalion. However, we now might be able to hit this rocket unit. Yes, but it's still only retreating. Okay. Thing is, I think I'd like to use my air power against these stacks. These are going to be tough. But I'd rather do a lot of damage against these. So let's use some bombers. So he's only got one air defense unit in that area. Some drones. Okay, so we've got the rockets. Okay. 4.6, 1.35, 3.6. Nothing. Let's try bombers. Let's put the anti-tank unit as a start. Right, so here okay. I'd like to damage this. Six five, 1.3. Because the irregulars are really tough in the city, so he's at depression 3. So he's going to be at 3.2 and he's at 3. Let's use 2 helicopters on both. Helicopters are easily shot down, so okay. .5. Right. Hmm. So he can't move, and the artillery can't move. If we move this artillery off of if we move these tanks off of there, we leave our artillery open to being attacked, and I don't want to do that. So we've got this one unit here that can we either try and attack that. So it could be just a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1. I think I'd rather just sort of move them there, because we know that next turn we'll be able to do something a little more effective. We leave our armour there protecting the artillery, and we can always deal with these two units later. They'll probably try to retreat. So I think we've made quite a big advance across this section into Starom Irsk. We've taken Urazane, although it's still contested on the outside. We haven't actually taken it because it's there. We've actually taken Staromisk, but you know, I mean, we can see what's what. So we're on the outskirts down here, we're on the outskirts down here, but this little section is not what it was. So up here, you see, this should be really difficult. And sitting near all this artillery is going to be a challenge. And what we really should have done, I want to split these up into 3 stacks. The infantry can go on its own. Really just comes down to where we can get this air defense unit. Yeah. So we could have used their air power and all that stuff on here, but we chose to sort of push down here. And I think that's another key thing about the war, is understanding that both sides have a range of assets, and what they do with them is what's important. I mean, we're not being told what the choices were. We're seeing lots of Russian cruise missiles, but what did they have the choices to use those on? I mean, those are not cheap. I don't know how much a cruise missile costs, but what I am thinking is that both sides are sort of using the war as an opportunity to basically get rid of all their weapons. I mean, building all these cruise missiles, they just want to use them up. Then afterwards they can start building more. Presumably the cruise missiles will need maintenance, and maintenance basically. I mean, it probably costs a certain amount to just even maintain them, to sort of check that they're working and polishing them and all that sort of stuff. And once they're used, the maintenance cost probably offsets the manufacturing costs of new items. But here, what we're sort of saying, so here what we used all our assets down here. We don't have any to sort of support this advance or this position. Now we're going to hold that position there. Here, I'm going to move that and that there. And I'm actually going to use this artillery on, if I can get there, on that. So we've done a bit of damage to those units. And we've got this pesky little militia unit. our rockets into there. So we've all seen the videos of rockets being fired. Quite a lot of damage into that stack. 5.9, 4.8, 2. Could really do with removing this guy. And he ran away there. Look at that. We can actually use our air defense units in support of this operation. We eliminated him. We still got 0.6, we can't move anywhere. Right, so this is an interesting stack, but we should be able to push it back. And let's just, I could have got 10%, but I think I'll keep them stacked in case it's an exchange or something. 3-to-1 DR. And that sort of separated them randomly. It's one of the interesting things about causing a retreat. So they've all got, oh, he's got 2 depressions. Okay, so I could move into there and attack. Pushed him back there. So we've got a little bit of movement left. If we move there, he'll be able to retreat there or there, so I think I might actually split. Get the 10%. 6-to-1 DR. Push him there. And that's pretty much it for the first turn. It took half an hour. So we sort of made some slow advance. It'd be interesting to see what the Ukrainians can do. Obviously they've got a lot of drones. So where would they think that the best effect could be got? I mean, these sort of units here are relatively in the open. It's quite more balanced, I think. So again, we've got the application of resources. We could focus on something and destroy it, but that leaves other things, okay. The thing is, we could probably handle ourselves over here. This is the area where they have the greatest weakness. So I probably want to sort of try and take out these armoured units. I've got some anti-tank. Let's just see what the anti-tank can do. Because once we've weakened them, 0.2. could attack this stack. Got rockets as well, but rockets tend not to really affect armour that much. I mean, our drones, I think, are going to have to go for these rockets. We made a mistake, and I think the Ukrainians can't afford to ignore that. And we should be able to take these out. So here's another photo opportunity for Twitter. Oh look, 2 4.5s, 6. So this should be the last one. They should both are out. Nope, 6. So he's at 12 damage. If this doesn't take them both out, ooh, what's we got left there? 6.5. Right, that was expensive, but it was also very expensive for the Russians because now they've not got their rockets there, which is a mistake. We've got some artillery over here. We've got 2 little drones left. Are there any other easy targets? So getting this armoured unit might be worthwhile. Probably not likely to do that. Okay, let's give it a go, because if we can attrition this advance, so he's at 2.4. I mean, that's not too bad. That's a quarter down. Put some rockets on him, and we've got artillery. 1.4. Let's take him up to 2.5 because he's armoured. 2.75. Anti-tank unit here. Point 2, 0.6, so that's 0.8 in total. Anti-tank units here, quite a lot of them actually. I think we could possibly bring some of these in this direction. Right, probably don't want to move him out. Just leave that as it is. He can at least make an effort to come down here. Here, we can leave him there, sort of performing a slight roll. that we can bring to bear on this stack here. Look at that. Let's go for it. No effect. Effect. Strange. I wonder if I put the numbers in wrong. I mean, it's 11 offensive, and they don't seem to be doing very well. Getting 1 to 4 odds. We've routed their artillery though. Here, I'm sort of more inclined to just leave these things because I don't really want to spend the time, because I could spend a lot of time just sort of looking at things and trying to think, especially putting the engineers somewhere. For example, here, I can put some minefields in there. Oh, he's not available though, is he? So I keep forgetting to do that. Okay. I'm going to just move on to the next turn just to speed things up a bit. I'm probably not going to finish the Russian turn because I've got things to do. But let's see if we can take this. What would be good at the same time? See, what we've also got is fresh units there, and in there, and there. So we should be able to clear this out easily. Take that stack out because they don't have any air defense over here at all. Let's just test that with a helicopter. One air unit. Okay, let's try it. Send some drones in and some bombers. 0.63, 7.25. Okay, let's send in some more drones. And some more drones. Maybe not. The irregulars are at 0.6, so they're fairly fresh still, really. Let's send in a cruise missile, because that seems to have an increased morale effect. Okay, let's send some bombers in here. and a cruise missile. Yep, so we routed that rocket unit. Now that's a big stack. How much air defence do they have? They still have a lot of air defence in that area. But it's a nice stack. And let's use a cruise missile. See whether we can get some morale checks. Yes, 2 artillery units are routed. Okay, we've still got some air power, but I'd like to move in this direction with these assets. He can only move a certain distance anyway. I think I'd rather keep him defended so he won't be able to do anything. What have we got under here? Now let's push them back directly. Get rid of these engineers. Support that with some helicopter fire. Move in there with these mechanized units 1-to-1. So there's a great exchange south of Rivnopil. Obviously, I'll bring our air defences in. So that's as far as our advance has gone in that direction. Here we've not really considered the implications that much, but these units, let's support that with some helicopter fire. Should be okay, so 4-to-1. This is called impetuous advance. Maybe we can destroy that unit. Yes. And we've still got some movement to carry out this attack. So that sort of worked. I mean, he's sort of, this little one company has probably exploited the greatest amount of terrain out of everyone. These people have sort of got their little drive up in that direction. These people have been sort of caught up in this town that he's sort of on his own has taken all this farmland. Down here. Okay, let's see some drones on this stack. I really want to take that stack. Can I get rid of these guys? Let's try and bomb them. 1 damage. 2.4. Sounds expensive, but see if we can do it with 1 unit. Oh, we've got some. Rockets. 2.5, he's still there. Well, okay, we've got rid of them. Expensive, but that now means that I can go like this. And we can push him there. Now he's at 4.5. So if we can win here, and we can support that, that, but that's just an exchange. Okay, that's not what I wanted. And here, and that was just an exchange. So this is interesting, you know, how this can be so successful and we can get so bogged down with so few units. There. So there's a lot of units just after this one little irregular company. And they pin them down. Right, let's get this artillery at least advancing. Some armoured units. I wonder what I can do here across the river. This is a really desperate attack. Not that I am desperate, but 1-to-1 a DR. So that sort of pushed them back. Look at that. You take a few risks, and sometimes they pay off. And that was across the river. So the armour did quite well. But it was only a 1-to-1 though. We had a 1-to-2, even worse odds. Okay, so we still haven't pushed them all out, and I really wanted to take that and failed. Should be able to push these guys back. No. So I've got this incredibly stoic defense in place. Eliminated him, which means we can push on him. Okay. Now he's sort of in a bit of an awkward place now. See if we can push him in the right direction. Okay, that is the right direction. Right, so we've got artillery. Let's use it. I'd like to go against that stack. Let's just, because we've got this artillery here as well. Okay, let's just use it. I'd like to go against the air defense units. Oh look, we've got some over here. Oh, this is a nice big stack. Push them back. I can't really get in there. In the open, there should be a 7-1, 6-1 DR. another DR. Okay. Probably didn't need both of those. That's it. It's 56. I'm going to leave it at that. But it's an interesting position. What I'm sort of thinking is that the Ukrainians could do with some reinforcements. But yeah, certainly food for thought. I'll leave it at that, and I'll speak to you later. Cheerio.